The throne chamber echoed with cruel laughter. The queen stood high above her kneeling generals, her voice amplified by the arcane sonic lattice wound into the stone. Humans, she hissed, are nothing more than half-evolved vermin crawling among the embers of a forgotten world. A wave of cold amusement rippled through the court. The spiked crown upon her brow glimmered under the burning banners of conquest. And now they are bold enough to refuse tribute. No message, no surrender, no whimper. A skeletal hand raised, clawed and gloved in black iron. The generals bowed deeper. She gestured to her war tactician. Show me their resistance. The projection shimmered. A crude image of Earth spun in the air, ringed by a defense network that, by her reckoning, should have been dust. A mere planetary sphere layered in rust and noise. Yet its satellites flickered with strange movement. Its radio signals, once chaotic, had gone dead. All channels quiet, global silence. Defiant to the last. She sneered. Admirable, in the way a cornered beast bears its fangs. She ordered the First Legion. 12,000 troops descended in light cruisers, outfitted in gold-black armor inscribed with the Queen's sigil. They passed the lunar orbit, slowed near the upper mesosphere, and scattered across strategic drop zones. No one returned. Communications ceased at entry. Surveillance relays captured nothing beyond clouds. Minutes passed, then hours, then a wave of static. One last recording blinked through, a feed smeared with fog, blurred shadows, and something fast. Something wrong. The last second froze on a soldier's scream. She did not flinch. Unlucky storm. Earth still trembles. Her hand waved again. The second wave followed. This time, 30,000. Heavy dreadnoughts above. Psychic commanders on board. Weapons to unmake oceans. They breached atmosphere with practiced precision. This time, recordings streamed live. For 10 seconds. Then came the hum. Low. Rhythmic. Almost human. Explosions erupted without source. Command decks imploded inward. The dreadnoughts fractured like glass under pressure. Troopers screamed about the dark. Not darkness, but something within the dark. A blur. A shadow that bled motion. One psychic burned out mid-transmission, eyes wide, whispering only, they are awake. Then silence. The Queen sat still. Her court no longer laughed. Her advisors whispered. Terrain adaptation. Underground resistance. Sabotage. All theories. All worthless. The Queen rose from her throne and stepped down among them. Have I not taught you? Her voice was ice. Terror spreads when you breathe it. Stop breathing. The court held its breath. She turned to the map again. They wish to make us fear. They hide behind the mist. Fine. She raised one clawed hand and clenched it into a fist. I will burn the mist. A new order was signed. A flotilla of skirmish-class ships deployed in stealth orbit. The plan was simple. Scan, isolate, monitor. Every breath and motion on the planet would be tracked. For 2 days, the sensors recorded strange anomalies. Heat signatures with no biological source, kinetic displacements that contradicted mass ratios. The data made no sense. Then the outpost started going dark. The ship's AI reported internal loss of function. Hull breaches from the inside. No enemy ships nearby. In one case, an entire deck was sealed. Hours later, the cameras activated. The crew was gone. In their place, a message scratched into steel. It read, "You don't see us because we don't need to be seen." The Queen crushed the tablet in her hand. She demanded biological samples. None were recovered. She demanded a prisoner. None were taken. She demanded answers. A probe was sent down, coated in psionic shielding, laced with nullification glyphs. It reached the surface, landed, began to drill. Then all feeds cut. 37 seconds later, the probe returned to orbit. Its outer plating was intact, but the interior was empty. The drilling arm had been replaced with a human-made dagger. No trace of how. In her chambers, the Queen sharpened her own blade. No more hiding. She sent her personal guard, black-armored executioners, trained in void warfare. Their task, to find the center of this resistance and gut it. They vanished. One ship was found, drifting near Saturn's orbit. Life support systems intact. No crew. Its command logs played back the same pattern. Whispers in an unknown language. Increasing in tempo. Then screaming. Then a soft lullaby, sung in Earth's tongue. The voice of a child. The Queen did not sleep that cycle. Advisors begged for caution. Some recommended containment over confrontation. One argued for withdrawal. She beheaded him mid-sentence. Weakness at the throne rots the spine of the realm. She stood alone in the war chamber, eyes scanning a new report. The words hit like ice. Orbital command lost. One infiltrator detected. She stared. The footage was raw. A figure in matte black, humanoid, but obscured. No insignia. No markings. Moved through a station hallway like vapor through cracks. One frame showed two guards falling simultaneously, their armor unbroken, their bodies limp. The next frame showed the command room. The lights dimmed. 7 officers fell before raising a weapon. The figure paused over the controls, touched nothing, and yet the station's AI core fried itself. Then, as alarms began to scream, the figure turned to the camera. No face, only the reflection of a galaxy burning in its visor. Then it vanished. The Queen stared at the final line of the report. No known point of entry. No trace of exit. No survivors. She rose. Her voice rasped low. Enough. She ordered a planetary lockdown. The sky itself was to be sealed. Drones patrolled every orbit. Psychic field nets blanketed the exosphere. Any anomalous object would be vaporized on approach. Then the palace power flickered. The Queen's guards took position. Systems rebooted. All scans showed clear. Until a door opened, without command. No alarms. No breach recorded. A figure stepped inside. Black armor. No sound. No face. It stood still in the threshold, watching. The guards fired. The figure moved. 4 guards fell before their weapons registered impact. The others hesitated. That was enough. A blur, then silence. 10 bodies. The Queen stood, still and proud. Her blade shimmered with runes older than most stars. You are bold. The figure said nothing. She raised the blade. The figure raised a hand. She felt something tug behind her eyes. Not pain. Not fear. Recognition. As if something ancient had seen her and decided she was done. She swung. The room bent around them. Steel split from sheer pressure. Her blade met resistance. Not metal. Not flesh. Something else. Her eyes widened. He caught the blade mid-swing. Shattered it with a twist. She staggered back. He stepped forward. The Queen hissed a command. Teleport glyphs flared. The room dissolved into light, rebuilt around her in the throne chamber again. She breathed once. Twice. The chamber doors opened. He was already inside. No sound. No entry detected. He stood at the base of her throne, waiting. She raised both hands, summoned a wall of energy drawn from a dying sun. The wall flared outward, deadly to any mortal. He walked through it. Her knees bent, not from impact, from the sheer weight of presence. He spoke. One word. Run. She turned, fled down the hidden corridor only known to her. And when she reached the escape pod, he was already there. She screamed. Then darkness. The void was quiet, but silence in space never meant safety. What was left of the Queen's fleet drifted like crippled relics, scattered through dead systems. The High Command had fractured, its hierarchy severed at the root. Entire battalions vanished. Ships arrived to empty rendezvous points. Orders went unanswered. Somewhere out there, a single warrior had unmade centuries of conquest with nothing but precision and fear. In a hidden system near the Empire's edge, survivors gathered. The Council of 13, the Queen's oldest military advisors, convened in secret. No heralds, no banners, no communication. They assumed she was dead. Some whispered she had fled. Others claimed the humans had taken her mind apart and scattered it among machines. The only fact that remained was absence. Power abhors a vacuum. The council debated retaliation. One general, voice trembling, urged them to seek the old machines. Forbidden weapons buried in black holes, sealed in sunlocked vaults. Another warned that Earth itself might be a trap, designed to bait empires. The humans had never struck first, but when struck, they answered without hesitation or mercy. A message arrived. No sender, no signal origin, no encryption. A single sentence. You are not the first to fall. They froze. The message spread. Across outposts. Across colonies. The phrase etched itself into display panels, into AI interface screens. No one saw the messenger. No ship appeared. Yet everywhere at once, the words burned. Your empires rot in silence. Your glory is decay. Your end is not unique. The humans were not retaliating. They were teaching. It was not about Earth. It was about the idea that no power could conquer them without consequence. That every enemy would carry back a curse, carried in flesh, in fear, in memory. The council split. Half wanted full war. The other half vanished. Assassinations, defections, panic. In the fringes of a red dwarf system, one warlord gathered the remains of the Third Legion. 40,000 troops, trained in anti-psychic warfare, reinforced with bio-enhanced armor. They formed a perimeter around Earth's orbit, established ground posts on Luna, and declared that the planet would be burned continent by continent. On day 1, they lost contact with the eastern lunar base. On day 2, atmospheric anomalies spiked. On day 3, every drone deployed to Earth's surface self-terminated. On day 4, all cameras looking at the planet went dark. Not destroyed, blind. Light itself refused to reflect correctly. AI systems described it as a sudden rejection of observation. The warlord stood aboard his flagship, viewing the data in real time. His sensors failed to confirm Earth's very existence. Then, a whisper. You don't get to look anymore. He spun. No one behind him. But he could feel it. A presence. A proximity that shouldn't exist. He drew his blade, swung wildly. He struck nothing, but the blade shattered in his hand. He looked down, for words had been etched into his chest plate. You're already inside. The ship's core overloaded. The flagship detonated. The rest of the fleet tried to retreat. Navigation systems scrambled. Coordinates twisted. Ships appeared in the wrong star systems, some inside stars. Others just vanished. One cruiser was found orbiting Mars, empty, engine still hot. Its log had only one entry, typed over and over. We shouldn't have come. Across the Empire's borders, panic grew. The species who once feared the Empire began to rise. Rebellion spread like wildfire. Enslaved colonies revolted with tactics eerily similar to Earth's forgotten warfare. Guerrilla strikes, psychological dismantling, total erasure of high command. It was not just the humans. It was the idea of them, the myth. The Council tried to counter it with propaganda. Broadcasts labeled the human warrior as a terrorist, a traitor to galactic peace. They showcased grainy footage of a black-armored figure as a ghost story. Then that figure appeared during a live broadcast. The Emperor of Cordaxis V was delivering a speech. The broadcast cut out for 4 seconds. When it resumed, the Emperor's body lay on the floor. No wounds. Eyes wide open. Dead. The message displayed behind him was clear. You're next. The figure became a symbol. Not of Earth, but of the impossible. One planet, one species, had turned centuries of expansion into collapse. Intelligence reports came in fragments. A strange phenomenon was noticed in every encounter. The human figure never used mass weapons, never commanded fleets, never left corpses behind. It appeared. It ended targets. It vanished. Like a force, not a being. A coalition formed. Not of empires, but of the fearful. 37 civilizations that once rivaled each other stood together for the first time. They created the Void Net, a sensor field surrounding Earth sector. Billions of drones. Psychic dampeners. Null space traps. All pointed inward. They expected a response. None came. For months, silence. Then a drone reported movement. Not from Earth, but from the center of the void net. Something had been inside it the entire time. All drones deactivated. The sector's power grid collapsed. The central command received a message. You built a prison around yourselves. Panic erupted. Civilizations blamed each other. Accusations flew. The coalition began to fracture. Several species withdrew, claiming they had been tricked into angering a god. One system fell into civil war. Another detonated its own moon out of sheer terror. The figure was never seen, but every breakdown, every collapse, bore its echo. Earth remained untouched. And still, no humans ever spoke. No messages. No demands. No diplomacy. That absence of voice was worse than any war, because it meant they were listening, waiting. One final move was made. The coalition's last surviving AI construct, built with forbidden knowledge from the edges of time, was activated. It calculated Earth's vulnerability. It found none. Then it analyzed human psychological patterns. It understood nothing. Then it asked a final question. If they wanted to destroy us, why haven't they? Its processors melted under the weight of the answer. The Queen, if she still lived, was not seen again. But reports from the Deep Rim suggested something worse. A planet, scorched and empty, once used by the Empire to test planet killer weapons, had begun transmitting. A pulse. Rhythmic. Old Imperial teams investigated. They found a city, built from the wreckage of alien fleets. Walls made from weapons. Towers crafted from dreadnought cores. In the center stood a statue. Tall. Human-shaped. Faceless. At its feet, the words, "Never forget what you made us become." The transmission spread. The galaxy learned. This was not revenge. This was preservation. This was warning. And still, no human voice ever spoke. They had transcended the need for words. They had become consequence. And there was no escaping it. The galaxy's map began to blur. Borders that once stood like steel now bled into chaos. Empires folded inward, rotting from fear, from silence. The specter of a single human had done what no war could, made power itself tremble. In council chambers, leaders whispered of shadows. In war rooms, admirals drew battle lines not to conquer, but to delay collapse. No one planned victories anymore. Only survival. But not all ran. A last alliance formed, one not of desperation, but pride. 8 dominant species, those untouched directly, but unsettled by the collapse of others, pooled resources and minds. They called themselves the architects. Their goal, to understand the threat and to end it. They rejected superstition. They dismissed the ghost stories. They demanded answers. They studied every fragment, every broadcast, every anomaly tied to the human figure. Patterns emerged. Timelines matched. Events followed logic, calculated, targeted, methodical. This was not magic. It was warcraft at a level they had not conceived. The architects believed that behind the myth there was a being. Flesh, bone, weakness. They deployed their most advanced unit, Omega Ascendant, a post-biological strike entity designed to kill demigods. It arrived at Earth's outer shell, where all instruments had long failed. But this machine was unlike others. It didn't rely on sensors. It interpreted possibility. It entered orbit. It began analysis. Within 6 seconds, it began transmitting a distress signal. Within 12, it began tearing itself apart. By 20 seconds, it no longer existed. Its signal, however, did. One word: submission. The architects refused to yield. They launched Project Terminality, an effort not to destroy Earth, but to replace it. They found a barren planet of similar mass, moved moons into orbit, altered its magnetic field, flooded it with artificial life, then broadcasted its coordinates as the true Earth. A challenge. Let the myth come to them. 3 days passed. Nothing. On the 4th day, the new Earth imploded. Not exploded, imploded. As if reality itself rejected it. The architect's most advanced theories on gravity, space-time, dark energy collapsed alongside the planet. One scientist whispered before he vanished, "We tried to lie to the universe. It didn't believe us." The facade was shattered. They tried something else. They stole a child from Earth. An infiltration team, cloaked beyond the spectrum of known physics, reached a surface facility. No resistance. They found a small human, no older than 8 standard years. The child looked up, smiled, and said, "You're going to give me back soon." They didn't respond. They returned to the architect's core. Within minutes, entire systems failed. Power flickered. Logic degraded. Language collapsed. The child never moved. Never blinked. Only whispered, "You shouldn't have touched us." The child vanished. So did the planet. Gone. Not destroyed. Removed. From memory. From physics. From time. No map recorded it again. The architects stopped existing. No remains. No debris. Just a hole where knowledge once lived. Others took notice. The draconian hordes, once Earth's most ancient enemy, buried their last war throne in molten rock and sent emissaries, not to negotiate, but to apologize. The signal they sent was one word long: respect. It was not acknowledged. And still, not a single human spoke. Galactic culture shifted. Armies were disbanded not because they were defeated, but because no one believed in victory anymore. Children were taught human legends alongside physics. Planets held annual silences, moments without sound, movement, or thought, paying tribute to the void that followed resistance. Languages added new terms. Earth silence, a hush born not of peace, but of caution. Drake paradox, when lesser power shatters greater without explanation. Vanishing, to be erased not physically, but metaphysically. The queen, long thought dead or hidden, returned. She arrived on a forgotten moon near the galaxy's edge, alone, unguarded. Her once golden armor now tarnished black. She stood beneath a stormless sky and spoke to the wind. "You mocked me." No one answered. "I had legions," she whispered. "I had gods bound to my will." Still silence. She raised her arms. "I will face you again." Then, behind her, footsteps. Not mechanical. Not booming. Soft. Measured. Human. She turned. There he stood. The warrior. The faceless one. Clad not in myth, but armor. Simple. Functional. No glow, no halo. Just a man. A human. She laughed. "So you are real." He said nothing. "You destroyed empires. You broke minds." Still no response. She drew her blade. "I was once queen of all known space." He watched. "I will not beg." He nodded once and stepped forward. She struck first. He dodged. She struck again. He blocked. Each movement was economy. No flare. No waste. She fought like a tempest. He like gravity. She shouted names of gods. He said nothing. She bled stars. He bled nothing. Then, with one motion, he disarmed her. She stood breathless. And he spoke. "You made us monsters." She fell to her knees. "Then be one," she said. "End it." He turned and walked away. She screamed after him, "Why won't you kill me?" His voice came like thunder wrapped in ice. "Because you're already dead." He vanished. She remained. For years. On that moon. Alone. Across the stars, peace did not return. It calcified. No wars. No conflicts. Only memory. Every planet remembered differently. Some with stories of shadows. Others with rituals. A few banned the very concept of Earth, as if denial might protect them. But Earth never expanded. Never struck again. Never claimed territory. It remained silent. That silence was worse than war. Because it meant Earth was always watching. And it would never forget. The Queen's final message, sent after decades of exile, drifted like ghost code through broken satellites and dead channels. They do not conquer. They correct. The galaxy changed. Empires no longer boasted of fleets. They boasted of restraint. Civilizations no longer sent explorers to the stars. They sent apologies to the void. And in quiet corners of forgotten worlds, children gathered around fires, whispering of a being who once faced the queen. Not a god, not a demon, just a human. One who had watched his world threatened. One who had answered not with anger, but with purpose. And when the story ended, the bravest child always asked, "Will he come again?" The answer was always the same. He never left. And somewhere deep in the dark, Earth still waited. Not with vengeance, not with hunger, but with memory. And the universe remembered too.